Hey, welcome back to Milton Daily Homes. Chuck here. I think we're back to normal life. I was on vacation last week and just stumbled into vacation with a horrible cold. Still working on the lighting in here. I'm going to fix that up soon in my new office, but you can see some of the action happening behind me. And we have some big plans for Milton Daily Homes this year, so stay tuned for that. Really trying to boil things down to the essentials. So I'm going to talk about 5 of the properties from today's list, and I hope you enjoy it. So let's get back on the saddle. Let's do this. First one up is Holly Avenue. I think I would have changed the price personally. $549,588 versus $550,000. The advantage of $550 without any weird extra numbers is you sit right on the price range. So you're the last listing between $500 and $550, and you're the first listing between $550 and $600. You actually double bracket is what we call it here at Daily Homes. So strategically, that can make a lot more sense. Now you can see from this picture, they have converted the garage to living space. Typically, we don't see much of a value difference there. It's just kind of a personal preference thing. If you need a garage, then, this home may not be good for you because you'd have to convert it back. It just makes sense to buy another house instead. But for people that want more living space, this could be a welcome addition. It could also be something where maybe there's even a home office involved. But it just shifts the preference. It doesn't change the value necessarily. I would want to see a permit for that. I'd also want to see a permit for this, which is more than 100 square feet. So you'd want to see some kind of documentation with the town before you actually proceeded with an offer. And the basement looks like it may have, you're probably not going to have a separate entrance. It may be suitable for like an in-law suite, that kind of thing. Now, there was a recent sale. You can see that actually if you subscribe to the Milton Price Report on our site here, wherever you see it, it's either up there or it's on that side. You're going to see that a recent sale happened on Mcnab with electric baseboard heating and a home that really was in as-is condition. There were no pictures, so I have to assume the worst, that it wasn't in very good shape. And they sold for more than 6. So I think it's irrefutable that this one's worth more than 6. They're holding back on offers until right around today, actually. And, some original features. They've done some work to it. But yeah, it's worth more than 6 just based on a recent sale on the street. That's always what you hope for. Same model, same street, and same features. And the less you have to kind of play with there, and also recent, that gives you, it's a stronger comparable when you have more things that are in common than different. Now, this one on Book Drive has a lot of the things that I think people want in a move-up home. We just saw a home on Zimmerman sell with the first digit being an 8, and this one is substantially larger than that one. So whenever builders offer a siding option, they typically offer some kind of a second floor balcony as a bit of a trade-off there. But you can see the inside of the home looks good. It's a pretty nice layout. It's open concept, but the kitchen is still somewhat closed off. Just an 8-foot ceiling here, but you've got your crown moldings. You've got some nice built-ins. That's obviously the view. You get the park here on this side. So what people like on a move-up, finished basement, double car garage, and if they can get it, they love a pool and they love green space behind too. So this one has, in my opinion, everything someone would look for. For the size of it. Everything else leads me to believe they've priced it pretty well, and I believe they're holding back on offers on this one. Now, if you want to talk about what people look for in a move up, try looking for what people want in a move down, in a size down. This one is an interesting one on Forbes because it's large. It has the double car garage, but it's not something where it's like 1,300 square feet. So it doesn't appeal to every downsizer, but people coming from the country, people coming from a very luxurious home, I find really like the extra size you'd find here. And This is one of the very few bungalows in town. I could probably count them on 2 hands and 2 feet that have green space behind too. So people like that. I think they only bought this one a few years ago. And you can see the loft up here. So there's, I think, 1 or 2. Yeah, there's an additional bedroom plus a loft upstairs. Finished basement, plus you've got that green space behind on a manageable size lot too. This one definitely fits a void. There's really nothing if you want a larger bungalow. Very, very hard to find. This is a very unique niche kind of product, and there are more downsizers in the market, I think, than there's ever been before. So the market for this is huge. Now, there's some interesting ways of valuing property, and this one on Martin Street is quite interesting. I think the photos could have been a little bit better, but they're essentially 4 townhouses grouped together in one block, and with adequate parking and everything else. There's a couple ways you can come up with value for a property. One of them is how much money does it make? That can determine the value of a house. And so the financials for this one show all of the income for the different units, all of the expenses, a discount, I guess, on rent. If you look at the rent here, comparing to, let's say these are all, I think they're around 1,500 square feet apiece. That kind of rental in the new area goes for $1,600 or more. So you could look at this list and say $1,420, $1,450. The potential rental income here, I would say, is much higher, which would increase the value of the house. Now, after all the expenses, taxes, and so on, $47,838. So if I brought my calculator out, one of the ways that you can establish value is basically the income over the cap rate. So we now have $47,830, let's just say $839. We'll round up on the decimal place, and then divided by a cap rate. I mean, a 5% cap rate is really good. We're not even finding that in town. The lower the acceptable cap rate, again, the higher the value is going to be. So even if we said a 4.5% cap rate, that would put the value at just over $1 million. But I think potential rental income could increase this number by a lot, by $60,000. Like, you could be up at 60 easily with the kind of rents that I think you could get. If you did that, if you changed the ratio to say $60,000 in net income, did I get that right? Number of zeros divided by that same 0.045, 4.5% cap rate, that changes the value to 1.3. So an extra income of $12,000 a year potentially could increase the value of the property by a few $100,000. So the other thing you can look at is you can say, okay, how much would it cost me to buy 4 investment properties, each townhouses? You're paying $500 a piece for those. So you could say at 1.5 that it's actually a really good deal. So I think this one's good. I think long term it makes a lot of sense. Martin Street is a good quality street to buy on. It's got great accessibility to the 401, bus routes, and so on. And I mean, if I had this kind of money to spend and I wanted to buy in Milton, this would easily be my best choice. So there it is, the big 5 out of 30. We're all caught up. So now, from now on, starting tomorrow, we're going to start to just review stuff that's happened in the last 24 hours. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.